Classification is important because it makes a fair competition for people who have a physical impairment, a visual impairment or an intellectual impairment. I'm Tanya Spencer. I'm a physiotherapist. I'm also a national level athletics classifier. So with classification, we will complete an assessment process with athletes who have a physical disability to see what impact their impairments have on how they carry out their sport. We want to make sure that the athletes who have similar impairments and a similar impact on their sports performance are competing against each other, and that just makes competition fair so that the best athlete will win on the day rather than the athlete with the smallest impairment.
I am Sam Rizza. I'm a T54 para-athlete competing in the 800, 1500 and 5000. It's important so it's an even playing field for everybody that's participating.
Can you tell me a bit about how many sessions you have on the track and in the gym and what that sort of all looks like?
Between 4 and 5 track and road sessions.
So it's really important for us to ask an athlete about their training and competition history. That will give us a sense of how much of their performance is due to their impairment and how much is due to their training. The really important bit of the information is what their health condition is and what sort of physical impairments result from that and how that might impact their sports performance. We need to know that it's all very consistent, that what they're telling us matches up with what we're going to see in our assessment tests, and so that's the next thing. Can you try it again, pulling up? Good job, push, 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 push. So on the track with Sam, I'm really trying to see how he goes with his warm-ups and his run-throughs to kind of get an idea of how his physical impairment impacts how he performs his sport. So I'm looking at his trunk function, so whether his trunk stays low or whether he has a rise and fall when he's propelling. And I'm also looking at how his hand function, how high his elbows are getting when he's propelling, and that's all going to give me a sense of which class he might fall into. So Sam's a T54 athlete. So that means that Sam has trunk function and he has quite good strength in his arms. Every sport has its own eligibility criteria and various impairments that can be classified. And I guess the impairment has to have an impact on the way that an athlete plays sport. The way that I think about a good example is that if you're missing a finger for running, it's not going to make a huge impairment. And so for some of the longer distance events, you may not be eligible to compete, but missing a finger in swimming would have a huge impact in terms of your pull through the water. And so the classification has to be different within those two different sports because the impact of that impairment has such a different impact on how they perform in their various events.